says we're live.
We did it.
Let's hope. I wonder if it's on Facebook.
I'm sure it is. I can click and see anything. I can't click and see anything.
Yep, we are. I see us.
Yay!
Hooray. Well, welcome everyone to Book Chat Book Club. Who named that?
I like it.
It was me. I love book chatting, and so this is going to be fun. Well, we're here today. Hi, Mara, with Tiffany. Is it Odekirk? Am I saying that right?
You are. Yep. Tiffany Odekirk.
What nationality is that?
Okay, so the rumor is, I have not read this, but the rumor is it's Dutch. Supposedly it means little church.
Wow.
According to my husband. Who knows?
That's awesome. Well, let me just introduce Tiffany a little bit from her bio. I have so many things I want to ask you about this bio. Tiffany believes working or cooking should take less than 30 minutes. I totally agree with you on that. Yep. Frosting is better than ice cream. What kind of frosting?
Oh, it doesn't really matter. Frosting is just
buttercream,
chocolate, vanilla, buttercream, store-bought, doesn't matter.
All better than ice cream. And all books should end in happily ever after. I completely agree with that. Tiffany graduated from BYU in Marriage, Family, and Human Development. She completed an internship with LDS Family Services and Adoption, then went on to work with homeless women and children and the nonprofit sector. You must have a ton of experiences from that. I can only imagine.
Oh, I do. So many hard things and also really miraculous, amazing things as well.
Yeah, I bet. Have you used any of them in your books yet?
I really haven't. I haven't drawn on that. It was an interesting time of life, to be sure. I do have one character specifically that'll be in one of my contemporaries that is kind of like a conglomerate of a lot of experiences I had during that time. But
yeah.
That'll be the last one in my contemporary series that I've started. So that's Rue's book.
Nice. And then lastly, married to a Broadway star, Tiffany's days are filled with music and her nights are spent writing the types of characters she hopes her children will one day marry. So have you gone to a lot of Broadway shows? I mean, with a Broadway star for a husband, I'm assuming you would.
Yeah, so we've done neat things. So he was on Broadway in Les Mis, so Marius, and did also, I mean, when you start, he started like as a swing for a role. So the one you would know, the title character is Marius. One of our most fun experiences was we actually went on tour with Julie Andrews. So in 2008, I guess it would have been. She had this tour called Gift of Music, and it was an amazing tour and show to be part of. But it was her and 5 soloists. My husband was one of them, and it was just a lot of it was an amazing experience.
So did you get to talk to her and everything?
Yeah.
Is she as amazing in person as she seems to be?
She is just delightful. Everything you would hope she would be. And she held my keys, and she's so delightful.
She just seems so gracious that she doesn't put on airs or anything like that.
Yeah, I actually have a fun story about her. So I kind of tagged along on their, I was just a wife who was there, and she was always so kind. My baby at the time, who also on this tour with us, was very and loud, we'll just say. And anyways, but she always put on a really, like sweet, pleasant face, this baby, whenever we were around Julie. And so one night we were in Carlton in Philadelphia for a show, and she says, "Oh, we're going out to dinner at this restaurant right across, and you must come." And I was like, I cannot take my baby to this like long fancy dinner with Mary Poppins. Like, I can't do it. And I just looked at Kevin and he's like, and she's like, come, you have to come. So we went, and my baby fell asleep, and she never slept, like ever. And she fell asleep on our way there. And I rocked her in her little under the table for 2.5 hours. And she woke up like right as like dessert course was coming, and she smiled and like had so fun with her chocolate. And then we went back to the hotel, and I kid you not, she cried for like 4 hours. Like, I mean, she was just a really hard baby. She's delightful now. Anyways,
But
Julie's
when Mary Poppins was there, she was good.
She was. I don't know. Must be her.
The magic of it.
Right.
Did you see Jennifer Garner loves Julie Andrews, and when she met Julie Andrews, somebody had recorded it. Did you ever see that video? It's so funny and so cute. Because Jennifer Garner is such a big star, and she was just fangirling over Julie Andrews, and I loved that. It's kind of funny.
Oh, well, and I felt like they're both kind of in that same vein of just like sweet, sweet person.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, tell me how you got started in the publishing business. What made you get into this crazy business?
Well, this is another great story. So I did writing one day. This is kind of silly, but I was just at the gym, like on the treadmill, and I just had this idea come to me as I was listening to a song, and I thought, oh, that would make such a good book. Let's do it. So home, and I just like got on my computer and started typing, and like 10,000 words, a couple chapters. I like, oh, like this is really fun. Like, I really enjoy this, but I have no idea how to write a book. So now this part is a little unlike me, but I really wanted to do it, and so I thought, I'm just gonna write one of the like my authors who writes in the same genre, and I'm just gonna reach out to her and see if she has any words of wisdom. Well, that person was Melanie Jacobson, and it turns out like in my signature has like my phone number and stuff. And anyways, she emailed right back and she said, oh, I recognize that area code. Are you in California? And I said, yeah. Turns out we live less than 10 minutes apart from each other.
Really?
So we met up. I know, right? We met up at the park there, and we just kind of hit it off. And she said, you've got to come with me to this conference. Just come with me. You'll know right away if you're a writer or not. And I said, okay. Like, who just like says, okay, I'll go with you. So we went and we roomed together, and it was amazing. It was amazing. So I got some great feedback on my first pages. The other author just so gracious, as I was sharing my pages that I've never shared with anyone. And I went to another writer about 9 months later, and at that point the book was done, and I pitched the book to my now publisher, Covenant, and it's kind of how I got started. So yeah.
So how long was it from the time you had the idea on the treadmill to when it was in your hands?
Oh, okay. So funny story. So it was actually this book, and my readers will probably know that this is the first book I wrote, but the third book I published. So I submitted this to them, and about 3 months later, I got a non-rejection notice is what I'm going to call it. So they said, we can't accept it because we have a book from, a debut author that's too similar that we've accepted, but we really like this book and we think it has merit. So will you give us whatever you're working on next, and we'll circle back to that one. And I, like as a first-time author, you're like, no.
Yeah.
It ended up working out because I was already a good portion of the way through writing my next book, which is this. Let's see, and so then I released that one, and then I released this one, and then this one. So all together, Probably 5 years is the time it takes.
Hmm.
But really, when I'm writing a book, it takes me about, I'm gonna say a year and a half-ish, probably to 2 years. So it takes me I'm getting faster, I think, at drafting, but, by this I'm not like a speed writer by any means, so
Yeah, me neither.
I really process. It takes me probably about a year, so.
So tell me, with Summerhaven, I know you said you had to do a lot of research in it. Did this book take longer than your other books just because of the amount of research, or no?
It did take me longer. And so with writing historical fiction, I had the idea for this book like a long time ago. And I just kept saying, no, I'm not going to write that book because I'm really, really afraid of, getting things wrong and
Yeah.
angering readers. And also I really wanted to make it the best book that it could be. I want to like I know to know that I do not know everything, and I going into historical fiction, I knew I would get things wrong, and so that was the really hard thing for me to do. So I basically tricked myself into writing it. So I told myself it was going to be a summer project, and it was just so I could like play and practice with words. And I thought, okay, I'm not going to do what I did in my contemporary novels. I'm going to write this one in one point of view. I'm going to write it in past tense, and I'm going to try a new genre. And so that's how I tricked myself into it. And then once I started like really getting into it, how can I not finish this story? Like, how can I not like give these characters their happily ever after? Oh, then I probably got like half the book, maybe just a little bit more, and then the world stopped during COVID, and so
Yeah.
all my kids came home. No more preschool, no more anything, and I kind of just do like put a pin in it. I had to press pause, and that was really hard to do, but the characters like were still like there working on me, and so anyways, I guess that's kind of how it happened. And as far as research goes, um it just like it takes a lot more, because simple things like, does a carriage have a window that can be let down? Like, can you open that window? And once they get there, like, what's the like, who opens the door? How does she get down from the carriage? Like all these little things, um, I I really had to learn, because this is a new genre, and as much as I read it, like writing it is just a little bit different. It's just a little more challenging for me.
Oh, for me too. I did the same thing when I wrote a historical Regency, and I
Mhm.
read a lot of historical Regency. It's my favorite genre, but I didn't know if I wanted to write it because I thought it might ruin it for me, or I wouldn't be good at it. And
Right.
it's a whole different thing for sure. So do
Yeah,
you read a
and
lot of Regency?
I do. However, when I'm drafting a book, like because I'm in this story world right now, I try really hard not to read a lot of it,
Yeah.
because I don't want it to come through in my own work. It's just so easy to do when you're consuming a lot, and it anyway, so I really try not to read or write too much. I still will read my like friends' books or books that come out with my publisher, but but is I don't know, like I do try not to read as much right now, but obviously it is one of my favorite genres and I love it. And so sometimes it's really hard. I'll see a really great one come through and I'm like, oh, but not
Oh.
when I'm drafting. When I'm editing, I can do that. But when I'm drafting, I really try not to. I try to read contemporary when I'm drafting historical.
Oh, Summerhaven was so good. It was so romantic and just so wonderful. It was really been my favorite read of the year so far. So I
Oh,
loved
thank
it.
you. That's so kind of you. Thank you.
Well, I have to ask, And if Mara, you have a question, you can ask too. But I wanted to know, since Hannah had a childhood crush, did you have a childhood crush? Were you writing from experience?
Oh, of course I did. I feel like the first boy that I really had a crush on, I was like 4, and I can still picture being in like my little, class in church, and I thought he was cute, and I thought it'd be so funny like if I, pulled out his chair or something. Well, I did that, but then he fell and he like hit the ground and it was awful. But that was probably my very first crush ever. I was 4. So
And you have a lot of guilt about that still.
I do. I'm like, Seth, wherever you are, I'm so sorry. Uh, yes. And then, of course, later on, there was, Leonardo DiCaprio and, all like the star crushes you have.
Of course, of course. So now you mentioned earlier that you started writing this book when you were 11.
Well, yeah. So I like the first seeds I can ever really think of like pinpointing. I mean, and this is like a seed, right? I mean, I really didn't start writing this book when I was 11, but like the first seed I ever had for this one, I was on a vacation. I think it was like in Yellowstone or something. And we'd gotten bored of playing outside. So me and my cousin came inside and like, well, let's write a book. Let's just write a book. And there's going to be 2 brothers. I think it was like a medieval book then, but 2 brothers, and they have this kingdom, and there's this girl. Anyways, so you can kind of tell like I like triangles or something. I think it's maybe about the girl like having a choice. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I can see like the seeds of my love of historical and
Yeah.
Family ties between brothers and childhood sweethearts, if you will. So yeah.
Well, and I think that one of the things that drew me to it is Hannah was really sticking to her, how she always dreamed her life would be type
Mhm.
thing. And when it wasn't turning out like she wanted, she was still trying to cling to it. And I love that Damon so, carefully brought her along, and he was so sweet with her and so tender. But Damon did play pranks on her as a child. And I know you said your brother didn't play pranks on you. Did you ever play pranks on people?
Well, apparently, like with pulling the chair out, I guess it
Yeah.
was easy. I Well, I will say that there is a lot of my husband in like every hero I write. I'm like, oh, I'm just like pulling qualities out of my husband. But in terms of like like his gentleness with her, and just like you said, like how carefully he kind of leads her and like helps her to be stronger. That is so much my husband. But he, like we also are silly and goofy and together too. So perhaps there's some drawing from that too.
Got to have a little bit of levity with it.
Right? Need a little humor.
Mara said she was, even when Oliver wasn't showing any feelings towards her. I kind of thought Oliver was always showing towards her his true feelings, and she just wasn't willing to accept the things that he was telling her and showing her. I mean, to me, that was where the book had so much depth to it, because there's what you're telling us and then what we're feeling with it. That's what made it a standout book for me, because there was just such a depth and an emotion to it that really drew me in. I literally almost read it in one sitting. I started at 10 o'clock at night, which was a big, big mistake, because then here it is, it's like almost 2 a.m. and I have to get up at 6:45 with my kids.
Yeah.
And I'm going, all right, we'll get them off to school and then we'll finish. And I did. And so that's how good it was.
Thank you. That's so nice. I am, I always kind of love to play with this idea of, like the face we put onto the world, and like the things that people show us through their actions aren't always the way that we perceive them or accept them, or yeah, sometimes it's hard to see like the truth of our own feelings, and and how others perceive or feel towards us too. So I don't know, like my bio said, I am a marriage, family, human development major. So I really love like family systems and family processes and like um,
Hmm.
how people relate to each other, So, um, yeah, I don't know. It was a hard thing to do actually. Um, like when you're writing something, it's hard not like I knew how Hannah felt about Ollie and about Damon, and then shedding light and layers was fun to do, but it was
Hmm.
also hard because sometimes when we're like outsiders looking in, it's easy to be like, Hannah, come on.
I know.
But
Exactly.
it's just so true to life.
Well, and I think the loss of her mother really affected her perspective because she had thought that Ollie was who her mother wanted for her, and Ollie represented a lot of a time in her life that was innocent and light and wonderful, and she'd experienced so much since then. I think she really wanted to cling to those beautiful memories, and like Mara said, the loving romantic feelings that she wanted so desperately.
Yeah, in some cases, like even go back to what was.
Yeah.
Um, Sometimes I think it's really easy for us to cling to our past and, what we want or how things were. And yeah, and things change. You grow and you mature and you come into your own and things can never be how they were, but they can be better, or different, I guess is what I'll say.
And wasn't that a great extra layer that Damon was also going through some parental issues with his father and the expectations of being the heir? And I mean, there was just so many layers that added to the complexity of the characters. So when, I don't want to give away too many spoilers, but it was just such a beautiful love story.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, I have to ask you, when I am writing a book, I am terrible at picking names. I always pick names that later on I wish I hadn't. So how did you pick the
Yeah.
names for this book? And did you regret any?
Okay. Well, let's see. So I love Hannah's name. It's such a sweet name. I don't know. Do I
Yeah.
regret any names? Okay, well, it's not that I regret names, but one thing that was really difficult for me to get right, that probably required the most research, was titles, right? So originally, Lord Winfield was Lord Jennings, but that's not really how titles worked. And I was like, okay, but Damon had a different title that he went by. Originally, he was Lord something else. And, anyways, and as we went through, I'm like, oh, the answer is really simple. Damon is Lord Jennings. He just has a courtesy until he becomes Lord Winfield after his father. The problem is that in my mind, Lord Winfield was Lord Jennings. And so like you'll see like and it was like and Lady Jennings. And so in my mind, it was really hard for me to switch over. um but other than that, uh okay, well, there's a character that kind of comes in at the end and her name is Lady Margaret. And I'm going to say I maybe regret that one because it's really hard for me to spell that right. Like there are some words like there are some words that are just like hard for my fingers to like get correct, like there. I don't know. It's a hard one. Um
Yeah.
and that's one. So maybe I sort of regret that one.
How did you come up with Summerhaven?
Okay, like I just had in my mind this like beautiful place. Well, like my house, we live in the suburbs, so everything is really close together, but we have this little like balcony door that opens to this like hillside. It's just lovely. And there's like birds that are always chirping, and it's just like you can hear crickets at night and sometimes owls, and it's just beautiful. Like it'll be breezy some days and I love it. And so I kind of wanted to bring like my love for that feeling that I feel like into the book. And so mm, Summerhaven for me just really kind of encapsulated that
Hmm.
feeling, and like this feeling of summer, and um and haven, it just because this is her haven. Like this is the place that this is like her happy place, if you will. So everything about that except for Damon in the beginning um is just a good happy memory for her. And I kind of played with a lot of different names. I knew Haven was going to be in there, but there were like a lot of different like iterations. Yeah, like I wish I could, while I'm on the screen, I wish I could like open that document. I wonder if I could. Let's see. Let's see if I can. Um, but I had a whole bunch of different okay, tell me if I've suddenly gone missing.
Uh-oh, don't do that.
Let's see. So I just had a whole bunch of different names that I kind of going back and forth on, like what what could it um yeah, no, darn. Okay, it's not going to be there. Well, anyways, I just I played around with a lot of different things, and at first I was like, well, should it be like spelled, or like should Summerhaven be like SMER? That's kind of a different spelling that you see a lot back there, and I was just like, no, like this is Summerhaven, and this is just this book feels like to me. So
Yeah. Did you base it off of a real manor or anything like that? Because your descriptions were so vivid. Did you base it off of a real place?
yes, I did. So I had to change a couple of little things in the final edit because nothing drives me more crazy than like see how there's like a little well, see if I can get it. See how there's like a little picture of Summerhaven down at the bottom.
Oh, uh-huh. Yeah.
So I based it off of a called Hatfield House, which is where Anne Boleyn grew up. And anyways, it's lovely. Like it's this red brick kind of building, and it's just got ivy. It's just like, oh, it's so beautiful. And it's just shaped building, and oh, I just thought, and there's like, oh, that's it. That's it. It's so pretty. And then the final edit, it's like I had to take out just like a quick word, like I original one, it describes it as like a pink stone, or it could have even been red brick. Anyways, I had to take that out because I'm like, it has to match, like, has to match this. So I'm like, I'm just gonna take out the color, and then people imagine it however they want. But at least on the cover. So
That's funny.
yeah.
Um, well, with all of the research that you did you have like anything weird pop up in your research, like the weirdest research fact that you could think of?
Oh, this is a good one. Okay, well, I'll give you one. I don't remember when I first learned this fact. Um, and it's probably not going to be super surprising to anyone, but one thing that was really surprising to me was in learning about, well, two things. The first one is that when a man and woman get married at that time, their marriage laws were different. So basically, she stops becoming a person when she gets married. Basically, she is him. And so if she commits a crime or all sorts of different things, it's his fault. It's him. It's on him.
Yeah.
But like same things with like as far as children go, as far as property, anything she comes into the marriage with um, isn't hers, doesn't belong to her. Um, like I said, even her children. So I think that's one thing. Like to my modern sensibilities, was really like, but
Yeah.
so that's probably the most shocking thing to me.
And that was the reason why you said you wouldn't want to really live in the Regency era?
I mean, I think we really romanticize it, and I think it'd be really interesting to go and see for a day or maybe a week. But I really, really love like toilets and eating and
Yeah.
things like that. I like being a person. Uh,
Yeah.
but there are so many really amazing things about it too. It was a much simpler time in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
A lot slower time, which I thought I really wanted, and then we got COVID, and then maybe I wasn't. So maybe
Yeah.
that's the reason why I'm like, that was good. I just it. Yeah.
But if you could go back in Regency time just for like 2 days, what would be like the 3 topmost things you would wanna experience?
Oh, okay. Let's see. I would love to. Well, I'd probably love to go to the theater. I'd love to, you know, just because I've gotten a chance to really enjoy it and learn a lot about it with my husband. I'd really love to go see a show with him and just, see what's different and the same.
Yeah.
Uh, I'd love to. Ooh, I'd love to go to a ball. Can I go to a ball? That sounds
Wouldn't that be fun? I would too.
I'd love to go to a ball, dressed up and do the formal dances. That sounds pretty amazing. And
Would you want to get a voucher to Almax or would you just want to go to a ball?
well, I would definitely want to probably be in London just because I want to see as many as I could. So I'm going to say Almax, probably.
Yeah,
You
I think so
know,
too.
the
And
upper
what's your
class.
third one?
What'd you say?
What's your third one?
Okay, on the third one, let's see. I'd really love to go see like Vauxhall and
Foxhole. Me
yeah, I
too.
think there's some really neat things going on then and it just looks so beautiful. So I'd love to
Yeah.
go um walk around and be
Yeah, that's me too. Be
yeah,
so beautiful.
right?
Oh, Mara said she would love to go to a ball as well. Do you have any questions for Tiffany, Mara, and Emily? I've kind of been keeping her all to myself.
Just so fun to talk story.
I know. I could talk books forever, I think. And
Yeah.
I loved your contemporaries. They were good too, but I think Summerhaven is definitely my favorite book of yours so far.
Thank you. You
And
know,
you did
it's
mention in your, oh, go ahead.
I was just say it's so fun to write both, because um there's things that are the same about it and there's things that are different. So when I'm writing Regency, it's like I'm really discovering this world. Like it's in some ways the same as mine, but there's just so much discovery there. Like I'm inventing places that don't exist in our world, which
Yeah.
I think lends to a lot of creativity and it's so fun. So,
Well, and I love, I mean, there's just so many like traditions of like a morning call, which actually isn't in the morning. And, they
mhm.
eat all these, the lavender ices at Gunter's and all these cool
Yes,
things like, what would a lavender ice taste like?
right?
Yeah,
Well, it
and
really
they,
makes me want to try. Like,
I know,
mm.
right? Mara doesn't have any new questions. She's read all of Tiffany's books.
I know. Mara's been with me since the very beginning, and she's
Isn't
just
she great? I love Mara.
this
She's the
sweet.
biggest support.
Yes,
And
very.
Emily McKibben is a good support for me too. I don't know if she's still
Thank
here,
you.
but great ladies. Tell me what you're working on now. What does your publishing schedule look like coming up?
Yeah. Okay. So I have one Regency Bella releasing as part of an anthology that I'm really excited about. I'm really excited. It's just happy and light and fun and perhaps it was like one of my most enjoyable books to write. I'm gonna say it was maybe like my second most enjoyable story to tell because I was a little more comfortable with the Regency world and like custom. So I was able to like dive right into the story. And because it's a novella, it's a little shorter. So I was really able to just like get in and like play with everything and get all the words down and that was just so enjoyable. And characters like um the girl, her name is Felicity, And Felicity is, she's just kind of a spitfire. She just is a little more like spunky than I am, is a little more, I don't know, speaks her mind a little bit more freely. And yeah, so she's just really fun.
And when does that one come out?
That one comes out in May. So that'll very first week of May. And
who are the authors with you in the anthology?
Oh, there are so many. Anna
hold on.
Walker is writing one. Brittany Larson is one. And I'm going to blank on people's names, and I'm just going to feel so bad. But there are like over 20 authors. And the whole purpose is to benefit this animal charity. It's called All Seated in a Barn, and they do some pretty amazing work. So that's the next thing that'll come out. And yeah, so it's kind of fun. And then the other thing I'm doing right now is I'm pre-writing for Ollie's book. So Ollie needs a chance to redeem himself. he had some ups and downs in Summerhaven, and I'm really excited to tell a story. I think it's a lot of fun. I haven't started physically writing it yet because it's going to be a new challenge that I haven't quite tried writing a book like this. And I'm really trying to figure out how to do it because I love the premise. Every book stretches, and I feel like this book is definitely going to stretch me in new ways. And I'm so nervous.
You're teasing us. It'll
be, I think if I can pull it off, I think it'll be a good addition to this book, this Summerhaven world.
And I know you mentioned there was a couple other secondary characters you were thinking of giving their own stories to. I mean, after Ollie, who would be the one you would want to do next?
Okay, I've got story brewing in my mind right now for Amelia Atherton. So that was Hannah's friend.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one that I've been playing with, and like it's actually hard for me not to jump into writing this book, would be Captain Bromley. So there's like a house party at the end. And the other one that I'm kind of torn because I think she would have a great story too would be Lady Margaret. I just, can I spell her name correctly throughout?
Maybe you could give her a nickname.
Right, Lady M or something.
Yeah. Well, there was a lot of names that goes with Margaret, aren't there? There was Meg, and wasn't there Beth, or I don't know, something.
Yeah, I'm sure I will come up with something, because a lot of my characters have to have a little nickname.
Yeah, for sure. Do you ever want to write like pets or animals into it? I know you're writing something, like you said, for an animal sanctuary. Is there in Felicity's story an animal that goes along with it?
Great question. Yes, there is. So the animal that I chose to borrow, if you will, is actually my dog. His name is Maxwell, and he's a little fluffy black and whitey schnoodle. Well, we don't really know what we adopted him from a shelter, but he's just my riding companion. He just follows on my heels, and he can't hardly wait until it's right, and he'll just kind of like snuggle in. Anyways, so I thought, of course, I have to write him. And I actually would really love to do that in Ollie's story as well. I think that story lends itself very well to having an animal in it. I just know that some readers are a little nervous about starting to have like an animal companion because they think the author is going to like off them by the end. And I won't do that, but I know that, usually sometimes animals meet peril in these books. And
true. You got to build the trust, I guess.
Yeah, I know, right? hopefully now that'll be like story 5, well, novel 5. So hopefully my readers will trust me.
Yeah. So when do you think Ollie's story might be out? I mean, for those of us who are anxiously waiting.
Yes. So I plan to start drafting it soon. And I'm attempting to draft this one a little faster. So my hope would be to turn it in sometime. I'm going to cross my fingers and say, because my little guy's going back to kindergarten, would be sometime before the end of the year. That feels so fast for me. It probably feels really slow for everyone else. And that for me, it's like, ooh, can I really like put that out there that I'm going to try to turn it in? But
accountability. You have fans that are waiting.
This is a really good thing, Julie. I need it. My goal really would be for that. Yeah. Okay. That'll be my goal. And then Covenant is my publisher, and they've been really lovely to work with when I turn in a book, and they also know that my readers are really like, come on.
Yeah.
So
we don't want to wait 2 years for all these
stories. So sometimes if they know I have a book coming, they've been gracious enough to kind of work with me on my work in progress to figure out a good timeline for release. Really, release dates really, when you're traditionally published, are dependent on their and what they have, already on. And there are many, many writers who are incredible that write so much more quickly than I do. So I'm just going to say, I won't name names, Tracy, but there are some people that write really, really fast. So maybe Tracy is one of those authors that I don't know how she does it. She creates such a beautiful story and is able to like get them out so quickly. So maybe one day I'll get there. But for now, I'm going to say hopefully I can turn it in by the end of the year, and hopefully, they'll be able to get me on a schedule as far as printing and editing and stuff. So.
Well, and you're kind of at a different stage of life too. I mean, I had the same issue with little kids at home, and your family is always first. So don't compare yourself.
I know.
You're in such a different stage of life.
It's true. And really, I'm grateful for the other authors who are able to do that, because I'm looking at like COVID, when I had to stop writing and I had to focus on my family. And thanks to authors who can write more quickly than I do, Covenant was able to keep producing work, which I don't know. It's important, So
it is. I mean, I think, and I don't know about you, but during COVID, I just used my reading as an escape, really, because I couldn't leave my house, really. So why not just escape through reading?
Yeah.
So I'm glad I had all my favorite authors that had put out books.
Same thing too. I mean, I know some of those were probably in the pipeline already, but
right.
I was so grateful to have something to dive into, and look forward to release dates.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Well, the last question I had for you tonight, if no one else wants to jump in, feel free, jump in. But my last question to you tonight was, what are you reading right now? What's on your nightstand?
Oh, okay. I am reading, let's see. Okay, so I am right now. I just finished Dana Dana's book, Dana Leishman, the Thief.
I have been pronouncing that wrong. I thought it was Le Chaminant or something.
Yep, that's how I've been saying it. And it's like, if it's not in front of me, I'm gonna say her name wrong. But she's delightful, and her book was delightful, and I really, really enjoyed it. So I thought
Tell me the name of it again. I forgot.
The Thief and the Noble. So her cover is one that's like kind of like a teal turquoisey, and I just really enjoyed that. It was like a like a Robin Hood retelling set during the Regency time, and it was so enjoyable. And so so that's what was. I actually listened to it, and I kind of read part of it at the same time. So it was like, I was doing chores, I'd like be listening to it. And then if I had like a free moment, I would like get up and actually read it. So
do you read audiobooks, or do you listen to audiobooks too, as well as read?
I do. I really do prefer to like sit down and read a book, but it is a busy time of life right now. I'm, like taking the kids to the park, and we're jumping in the car for carpool and stuff. So I've had to listen to a lot more. And I found that there are some narrators who are just, they're so good. And so
Yeah.
it like brings to life, like I'm trying to think, Heidi Kimball in the Highlands.
Mm.
Oh, it was so beautifully done. Noah Wall is the narrator. She actually narrated Summerhaven too. Um,
Um,
but the job that she did in Heart in the Highlands, that what was so great about it is she was able to do these acts that just like, oh, it just brought like that book to life. So it was really terrific.
Yeah, the narrator can really make or break a story. I have my narrator for my suspense books, and
Yeah,
we have a British accent, Canadian accent,
yeah.
American, and Saudi Arabian, and he does them all, and it just brings the story to life and makes all the difference, I think. Do you love your narrator? Uh-oh, I can't hear you anymore. Just a minute. You're muted. Can't. I can't unmute you because you chose to mute yourself.
Sorry about that.
Yay!
We're
I am
back.
so not
I'm
technologically
sorry. No,
gifted.
I'm just talking and muted and sorry.
Anyway, where were we? We're talking about narrators. Did you love your narrator?
Oh, I did. I think she was just perfect. I usually don't go back and read my books, but this one I'm just like I just wanted to like hear it and like, hear it brought to life and see how it was. Oh, she did such a great job. I just adored her. She did fantastic.
That is awesome. Well, I know we had a giveaway planned, and we have one Facebook user, and I don't know what your name is. So
Oh
if you are
no.
a Facebook user, tell us your name. But we have Mara and Emily and Facebook user. So I know you were going to do an Amazon gift card.
Yeah.
And then I was going to do a gift card and then a print book of yours, the Summerhaven
Oh,
book.
awesome. Thanks.
So since we have 3 ladies who commented, I'm assuming Facebook user is a lady, then everyone with those 3 ladies will get a prize. So,
Awesome.
oh, it's Star. It's Star Hoppines. I
Perfect.
know her.
Well,
Awesome.
if I don't know who you want to do it, but you can pick a name and maybe they can just private message me they can just private message me so I can get it out to them. I just need their email address.
Oh, and Crystal is on too. Okay. Let's see. Well, if Mara has all of your books, do you want to give her the gift card? And then I can do the other gift card and book.
That's perfect.
Okay, so let me see. So I'll have Crystal and Star and Emily. And then you have Mara.
Perfect. Okay, Mara will get in touch.
Thank you so much for joining me for the book chat. You're a sweet, sweet author, and I loved your book, and I've just been raving about it to everybody I know. So I hope everybody reads it.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much for having me. This was such a fun. I love to get together and talk story and characters. It's just so much fun. So thank you for having me.
I appreciate it. And you have a good night. Good night, everyone.
Thank you. You too. Bye.